Yes guys, good morning and welcome back to the channel today. I hope you've all had a good weekend, enjoyed some sun. So today we're going to be doing, well, I don't want to keep doing just reviewing every single result every single weekend. So I think what we'll do is we'll pull out a few talking points from each weekend. So we might touch on most of the games, might touch on all the games, and we'll just go through some of the big talking points, what it could mean for those teams in and around that positions and to do with that fixture. And yeah, we'll just analyse like that, I think, because it's so simplistic just to do every single result and just be like, oh, this happened, this, like, you've probably seen what happened. You don't really care about me telling you what happened. But yeah, we'll get into it. So I think we're going to start with, I think you have to start with yesterday. I think there were quite a few significant things that actually happened in the game yesterday in terms of for the season. So to be fair, my predictive video, again, if you haven't watched my predictive video, go watch it please. It's something that I'm quite proud of in terms of, I think it's going to be quite accurate for the season. There might be a couple boo-boos in there here and there, but overall I'm pretty content with basically predicting every single result for the rest of the season. But yeah, anyway, we'll get into this. So yesterday, obviously, probably a day of two halves in terms of the quality of games that there was on the telly. So you went from having a hustle and bustle of Liverpool's 3-2 against Fulham entertainment to the drab Manchester derby, which is one of the most boring Manchester derby we've seen in years. And it did just scream what Gary Neville said. Both teams just didn't want to lose. I understand from United's perspective, like, they didn't want to lose, they just want to maintain their position in the Prem, not drop any lower. But for Man City, I'm a bit shocked how bad they actually were. I think for the context of their season, they need to be performing at higher levels if they want to make this top 5. Maybe, I don't know if they're taking the foot off the pedal a bit, or the season's finally getting to them, or there's no Haaland. Like, it does seem like that was a game that was just needed to be taken. Like, Man United were not on it, but City never looked for one moment like they were going to take control of that game. They held the ball at times, but they were quite sloppy on it as well. They didn't really take any risks. I would like to have seen De Bruyne try and step up a bit more. I know he's getting on a bit, but he's still got the quality, and either he needs to step up a bit or they need to get some space for him to step up. Because they were playing De Bruyne like a false 9, and I think even a couple of years ago, De Bruyne probably could have done a decent job in that role, but it just didn't work. The little dive in the midfield with the false 9 up top or whatever just didn't work. Like, it just didn't. I just never saw it once coming off. Like, I think they should have just kept Marmoush up top, played De Bruyne in behind Marmoush, gone with whoever, like Kovacic and Gundogan in midfield, and then gone with like 2 wingers. You know, gone with Savinho and Doku or Grealish or something. You know, make United get pinned back in. I think he went too intricate. I think United wanted the ball in front of them, so you needed players that were going to stretch the game. So I'm looking at a Savio and a Doku. Like, if you played Savio on the right, Doku on the left, Savio against Dorgu would have been a very good matchup on that right hand side, and Doku against Mazraoui again would have been a very good matchup. Or Dallo as well was over on that side, I think, at some point. Yeah, so I think it was just too congested for Man City to actually do anything. I thought Foden had another poor game. I think he was subbed off within the hour mark, which tells you all you need to know, really. They weren't really ever troubled at the back, it felt like. There's a couple little attacks here and there, but nothing that major. And then City, I can only really remember the Marmoush volley, which was kind of straight at Onana, but he hit it really well. That was like the only significant piece of action I can remember. But it was just a very drab affair, and I think Man City are, sorry, you have to ignore the sun, guys. Hopefully it'll go in a sec. There you go. Yeah, Man City really need to step it up if they want to get Champions League football. This isn't the way they're going to do it, you know. They need to go through the gears now. They haven't got a horrendous run in, but they've got some tricky games to come. I think they've got Aston Villa at home, and if they play like that against Aston Villa at home, Villa will do them in. Like, don't get it twisted, they will do them in. I think they've still got to play Spurs potentially as well, which you play like that in transition, Spurs will kill you on the break, which says a lot with Spurs being 15th. But I think City just need to, I don't know, I think Guardiola needs to take his hand off the clutch and take his hand off the brake now and just be like, look, the season's been awful basically, go and express yourself, you know, there's nothing to lose now. It can't really get that much worse for Man City. I think the worst they come is maybe 6th. And it's like, okay, if we come 6th, it's not the end of the world, you know? But just go and express yourself, because I think the worst thing that happens, if he goes plays a really attacking team, you know, he goes and puts on Marmoush up top, Doku, Savio, plays De Bruyne behind Marmoush, he plays Nico Gonzalez and, I don't know, Gundogan, or maybe he drops De Bruyne deeper and plays Foden, you know, something like that, or plays Foden, or something like that, you know, plays Foden and De Bruyne either side of Nico Gonzalez, and tries to do that, maybe plays two flying eggs like he used to do. And then he goes with the 2 second wingers. Maybe he tries something like that. But it just feels like he's going a bit too safe. And United have been one of the worst teams in the Prem this season. That's not like a outlandish statement. The table doesn't lie. So if they can't play as a top half team playing like that, they will get found out. So I just think it's quite a damning performance. The result isn't an awful result for them, but it's not a good result. And they just didn't look threatening at all, which I think is a bit of a worry when you think about Haaland's out for 5 to 7 weeks. The good thing for City is they're probably out of the Champions League. It's probably a good thing because they just have to focus on the league and maybe the FA Cup. But they need to make sure that they're finishing that top 5, I think, for their own sake. Because I think there's still a very likely chance they get some sort of points deduction next season, which could hamper any Champions League pushes. They might get a big enough one where they can't even stay up, but I think they need to be careful here, City, because if they slip out the top 5, that's a lot of revenue loss. But obviously they are a big club, they'll still sign their players they want to sign, but it's just a very slippery slope you don't want to be on. Because I'm pretty sure Haaland wants to play in the Champions League, and let's say you look for the Champions League in this season, next thing they get points deduction for the Champions League, all of a sudden Haaland's out of it for 2 years. Let's say the points deduction is so big they get relegated, that's 3 years. You come back to the Prem, 4 years. Yeah, and then, so what's it? You got next season after, if they get the big points deduction, when they'll be potentially in the Championship. Then you got a season back in the Prem where they can't be in the Champions League. And then you got the season after, so it'll be 3 seasons out of the Champions League potentially for City. I'm not saying it will happen, but I'm saying that's not like a outlandish statement to say, because they've been charged for 115 things. Forest and Everton got last season, what, 10 and 4 points I think it was, or something like that, 3 points for like Forest had 1 charge. I think Everton had like 3. So you're looking at going, how many is 100? Like, if you think they get found on 50, that should be like 100 points at least. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see. But like I said, I think Guardiola just takes hand off the pedal now, hand off the brake, and just let this team try and play their best football they can, and just quit this positional football. You know, it's dying out now. Let them go express themselves. Someone like Doku needs a bit of freedom just to go and play. But yeah, that's what I think from that game we should learn. I think Amorim's just got to keep churning out results in the Prem as much as he can, and then just focus on that Europa League, as I said before. Not a bad point for them. It is what it is. They move on. On the flip side of yesterday, you had the Liverpool-Fulham game. which might come as a shock to some people. Actually, I think in my predicted video, I might think they might have got a point there. That's my prediction. I think for them to get a point. And I don't think it really means much for the context of the season. I don't want to spend too long on this game because realistically, Liverpool's still going to win the league. Fulham, fair play to Fulham, they're pushing, and they could prove me wrong with what I said for them to come in the mid-table place. They could come in that top 8, and it would be great if they did. I really like them as a club, and they played some really good stuff at times yesterday. I like how they play. They don't let other teams come onto them so much. They push themselves, even against the big teams at home. At home, I think they've probably really won. I think they've got Chelsea and City both to come play them at home towards the back end of the season now. So they could make it some good games then, make a fortress out of it. So maybe Fulham will make that push for Europe, which I thought maybe they might slack off a little bit. The Liverpool for the title, there's still no doubt in my mind. It's such a shame that Arsenal couldn't push more. Even if we'd have got a win against Everton, it's cost 9 points off. I could have maybe gone, oh, maybe there's a chance, maybe. But the fact that we can't win, because the thing is, there's only a chance if we can win every single game. Liverpool might drop enough points for someone to jump ahead of them, but there's no one that can do it because Arsenal can't maintain 100% wins. We just haven't got the consistency to do it. We've shown it week in, week out now. We can't win 5 in a row. We're just not capable this season. It is what it is. Like, I've had to accept it now. Speaking of Arsenal, quickly touch on the game. Sure, guys. Quickly touch on the game on the weekend. I mean, I see Mark Goldbridge in the post saying Arsenal's got to be in double digits now for points lost due to referee decisions, and he's not wrong. Like, he's just not wrong. I think it's got ridiculous now. I think it's just plain, like, I don't know what it is. It's just poor refereeing. I said before that the refs need to fix up in the Prem, and the fact that she's coming against Arsenal is just ridiculous. It's happened again. It's got to be the 4th or 5th occasion this season that it's happened to us. If you just look at them quickly, like, you've got Miles Lewis-Skelly's had 2. Obviously the red card against Wolves and this penalty against him is just ridiculous. Both decisions were absolutely ridiculous. Alright, you look at Declan Rice against Brighton, I'm sorry. There's so many occasions I've played the ball away this season, across the whole season, and not being getting a yellow card. So that's the 3rd one. Trossard I accept, that one was stupid, and I think if you smash the ball away like that, you should have got a yellow card even before this they were being stripped of it. So I didn't actually oppose the Trossard one. In terms of others, I think that's the main 3 that pop in my head right now. But there's definitely more that I just can't think of off the top of my head. But it's just ridiculous, some of these decisions get made against us now. And it's not just us, it is across the league. I think it just gets highlighted more because it's Arsenal. Our fans are very vocal, or especially on social media, so it probably has made put a bit more of a spotlight on it. But I just thought it was a ridiculous decision. It's come from someone that clearly hasn't played much football, as the referee, I mean, because how you can think he's pulled him down, even on the VAR, like, he's got his arm like there, he's not even holding him or anything, and if anything, it's the Everton player Harrison that's pulled him down, which apparently is what they come out and said afterwards. But it's happened too many times that they've come out and said, oh, we made a mistake. It's like, stop making the mistakes and just get it right in the first place. Like, it's not that hard. A fan could make that decision in the studio. Like, I would trust, I don't know, a Chelsea fan or a West Ham fan to look at that and go, you know what, it's not a foul. Like, just get these guys some help. that's all it. Like, they need a footballer in that room or something. I know they said that they can't have a footballer in there because it's not to do by the rules, but it does. It would help, because sometimes the rules are a bit blurred. Sometimes there's a bit of a grey area, and you need that insight from a player. I think if you have a football player in that room right there, he looks at that and goes, nah, he's not fouled him, he's not touched him, how can you give a foul there? And it's just ridiculous that they came to that decision. But anyway, for the context of the season, nothing much changes there. I think the top 3 all drop, the top 5 teams all drop points this week, if you think about it. Yeah, all the top 5 teams drop points, so there's no change really in the season how it looks. Chelsea got a point closer to Forest, so did City, but in the grand scheme of things, nothing really changed. So it's probably no news or good news for most teams. In terms of other significant fixtures, significant results on the weekend, obviously Southampton getting relegated to Spurs. It was just a matter of time. I think it's more a case of how many points do they accrue. I said that they would go down with the worst points tally in Premier League history, and it's still very much on. I think once a team goes down, yes, you have nothing to lose, but you also have nothing to gain. You know, there's no hope of survival, and there's a chance that their form now just completely curtails. I think their only hope is maybe some players might be playing for a move to stay in the Prem, but it wouldn't surprise me if they go and lose their last 9 games, because the morale in that squad's got to be on the floor right now. To pick up 10 points all season and now you've just gone down, I think, yeah, you're definitely. I think the odds of them not winning another game are almost 90%, 95%. I think the odds of getting a point, maybe 50. Like, I just look at their season, I think they have been the worst side of Premier League history. They've been so naive with the way they played. And I know Company got the Bayern Munich job out of it, but they also spent over 120 million. I'm sure everyone's heard Sean Dyche's quotes about Vincent Company. He's not wrong in the fact that they spent so much money. Southampton didn't spend any money, and they've been relying on youngsters to pull them through. And if you're doing that in the Prem, it's just not going to work. Yeah, I think that's the only thing really in that game. I think Spurs, it's just Spurs. They'll win some games, they'll lose some games. Nothing really to read into with Spurs, I don't think. Chelsea 0-0 against Brentford. They just can't get started against Chelsea. I thought maybe after the international break, maybe they would get going again. I know they beat Spurs, but it wasn't exactly an inspiring victory. And I think beating Spurs isn't such a big deal in this day and age. So maybe they've gone more defensive to just try and get points. You know, obviously a 0-0. Obviously, I also didn't watch it because the Liverpool game was on. But it just is a bit uninspiring. And I've seen the selections. It's crazy. I remember I did a video on Morris a couple of weeks back. Go watch it if you haven't watched it. I think it's quite telling of what's actually happening. Like, he's dropped Cole Palmer and he's dropped Nicholas Jackson, and the next game is on Thursday in the Conference League. Like, you didn't even have Palmer in your squad for the Conference League. You could probably get away with having Palmer on the bench in that and seeing how it goes. I think your league form is so much more important in terms of right. If you win the Conference League, yeah, it's great, it's good, but it only gets you into the Europa League. If you can get the top 4, top 5. Oh, what the fuck am I parking here? Well, this is interesting. Let's park in here. Sorry guys, 1 second. Yeah, if they get into the conference, if they win the Conference League, sorry, they only get into the Europa League. If they get the top 4 in the Prem or top 5, whatever it is, they'll get into the Champions League. So I don't understand why they're being so naive, thinking, oh yeah, we'll just drop Cole Palmer or Nicholas Jackson or something like that. Like, it just makes absolutely no sense. I just can't get my head around what Maresca's doing. I don't see the plan there, and I'd be surprised if he does stay on now towards the end of the season, because I just think he's been so poor right now. I know they've got 4 points from 2 games. That seems quite harsh to say, but it's not been an inspiring 4 points from 2 games. It's not like they've got unlucky, you know, they've dropped a silly goal or something at Brentford. They've just got a 0-0 draw against Brentford and a 1-0 against Spurs. Like, big whoop. I think they should be doing better. I think the players they have available to them, they should be doing a lot better. Any other big talking points that I want to quickly mention? Aston Villa against Nottingham Forest. Big game for the race for Champions League. Do I think it will take Forest out? No. But one thing that Forest is a bit of an alarm bell is the lack of a striker right now. They need to get Chris Wood back ASAP. I don't know how long he's out for, but they need him back. They need that focal point up front. They're struggling without that. The wingers can only do so much. They need that guy in there. There were a couple of times in the game I was watching it, I was like, there's just runs that getting made which shouldn't be getting made. Like, if Chris Wood's there, he's either peeling off to the back stick or he's just holding his position in the middle. But there's players like running like into the channels where the ball already is. Like, just like, yeah, they need to get Chris Wood back ASAP. But Aston Villa flying as I thought they would. I think I actually had 2-1. I'm not gonna lie, I had 2-1 for my results. So that's 1-0 to me. But yeah, I think they're gonna be a force in these last 10 games. I think the Champions League pushed them on even to another level. It'll be interesting to see what happens next. I think they've got Southampton next week, so in between the 2 PSG games, they've got Southampton, which isn't too bad. It's quite easy for them. They can rest some players. Southampton are already relegated, so the morale's already going to be on the floor. Rest some players, and go against PSG. I think the form Villa are in, there's no reason why they can't try and go against PSG. And I think Emery's a very smart manager. Don't be surprised if he does make it a bit of a boring game. That's all I'll say. It might be a moments game with Emery against PSG. It might just be like he gets a goal out of absolutely nowhere. Hold that. Go to the Parc des Princes, get a 0-0 or get a 1-1 or something like that, you know what I mean? So, yeah. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I think that's the main talking points I think I want to go into so far. I've had to rush this little part at the end, obviously you can tell I'm at work. But yeah, thank you guys for coming along, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.